Dear ones, we are here today to celebrate the winter solstice. And, dear ones, can you hear me now? I'm on. We are here today to celebrate the winter solstice. And so we're actually going to start our service after this beautiful introduction from Brock and Ryan. Thank you both so much. Fill in our hearts. Whew, we are so blessed. We're going to start this morning by singing our winter solstice chant. You can do this from your seats. We don't have to be standing. We don't need to stand during this. But it's number 1063 in your teal hymnals if you'd like to look at the music. Brock has run down from the organ to play it for us on the piano. And would you play it for us once through first, and then we'll sing it? Welcome. Welcome to the First Universalist Church of Rochester, where we are called to nurture the Spirit and to serve the community. I am Reverend Lane-Mairead Campbell. It is my privilege and my honor to serve as your settled minister here in this congregation, and I use they, them pronouns. Joining me in leading worship this morning is Kitty Forbush as our worship associate, using she, her pronouns. Reverend Michelle Yates, our Minister of Lifespan Faith Development, using she, her pronouns. The fabulous Dr. Brock Chesvold, our music director, using he, him pronouns, joined by Ryan Hardcastle today on the viola, using he, him pronouns. For our online worship, thank you so much, Michael Scott, for holding down our sanctuary online worship using he, him pronouns. We also have Ezekiel McGee using they, them pronouns, and Karen Labraco using she, her pronouns for our online ministry team. Thank you both so much for making our ministry online possible. If you are here for the first, second, or third time, or if you are coming back after a while, especially welcome. We are so glad that you are here to join us in this season as we explore rest and darkness. We would love for you to fill out a visitor's form, either by clicking on the link in the chat if you're joining us online, or by scanning the QR code in your order of service or in your pew. We'd love to be able to offer you a welcome beyond just this sacred worshiping space. I want to extend a special invitation to those of you here today to two events that we're having this week. The first is a memorial for Terry Brayman that will be happening this Friday at 11 a.m. right here in this sanctuary. For those of you who don't know, Terry Brayman is Glenda Brayman's son and died in the Osprey crash off of the coast of Japan. We will be gathering to honor his life and to honor his service, and I want to especially invite folks on behalf of the Brayman family to be with us. And then, of course, this upcoming Sunday, we will not be having worship at 10:30. If you show up, the doors won't be open, I'm sorry, but we will be gathering that evening, Christmas Eve service at 7 p.m. Please come, please invite your families, bring whoever you'd like. We'll be having a contemplative and beautiful service for you that evening. And music at 6:30. We'll be doing a special prelude for a music at 6:30. Thank you so much, Brock, for reminding me of that. Before we turn to our neighbors and greet one another, and actually before we do a bit of ritual, let us first connect with our online and in-person community. If folks could turn towards Hope and offer a wave to our online worshiping community. We are so glad that you are here with us this morning and grateful that you're joining us online. Let us now just take a moment, if you'd like, to turn to your neighbor and to offer a greeting this morning. Before let me call you back. I'm so sorry. I feel like I have to apologize every Sunday for this. But before we begin singing, please remain standing with us. We are going to actually take part in calling the four directions this morning to get to set our sacred space. And so let's just take a moment to center ourselves wherever you are, whether you are joining us online or in person. If you're joining us online, I'm going to invite you, if you'd like, to turn towards the north, wherever you are. This is a great way that we can connect between being in person and online. We always know where north is, hopefully. So I'll invite everybody here in the sanctuary to please turn towards the north. We will begin with calling the four directions by turning towards the north, the spirit of the earth. So let us face there and take a breath. Spirit of the North, Spirit of earth, of bodies, of boundaries, of solitude, of death, we embrace your frozen, deep darkness at this time. This moment when roots and plants are at rest, we center ourselves on this land, which we know as Rochester, feeling our connection to you through our feet. Spirit of the North, hail and welcome. And let us now turn towards the east.
Spirit of the East, spirit of air, of thoughts, of intellect, of truth, of clarity, we know your biting chill in this season. We know you by the ways you carry the flying creatures and the ways you move the bare branches. We quiet our thoughts and connect to you through our minds. Spirit of the East, hail and welcome.
Spirit of the South, spirit of fire, of passions or motivations, of warmth, of ritual. We know your light endures even when it is hard to see. Keep aflame in us your ways of connection, of honoring, of cleansing, of transformation. We connect to our gut instinct to connect to you. Spirit of the South, hail and welcome.
And let us now turn towards the west. Spirit of the West, spirit of water, of emotions and heart space, of rivers, oceans, and tears. Help us to listen to our hearts and to where we are called to flow with the changes in our days. We connect to you through our joys and our grief, through our anger and our concern, through our hearts. Spirit of the West, hail and welcome. And now let us turn again towards the front of our sanctuary. We are going to sing hymn number 73, Chant for the Seasons, a hymn written by Reverend Dr. Mark Bellatini. We're just going to sing the second verse. This is a chant for the season, so we'll sing the season that is the chant that's devoted towards winter. And we're going to sing it 3 times through. And hopefully, yeah, the words will come up. So. Autumn cold has turned the star wheel. Winter is upon us. Autumn cold has turned the star wheel. Winter is upon us. Raise the windy storms, hold upon our cheeks the red rain glistens. Autumn cold Please be seated.
These are words of a song by David Glasgow that are from a cantata that we performed here at First Universalist in BC before COVID. Remember the Dark by David Glasgow. One flame glimmers in the dark, one tiny spark that somehow chases all the gloom away. This is not what you had planned, but now you understand that only darkness lets the light within you shine. Leave the life you made behind you and let the darkness find you, and watch your spirit glow. I used to be afraid of the dark. Monsters in the closet, boogeymen under the bed. But through the years, I've come to welcome it and truly appreciate the sweetness of the twilight, the stillness, when the birds stop their singing and the crickets start theirs, the stars and the planets sparkling above me. I've made my nightfall my meditation time. I review my day. I seek out the moments of kindness and connection I may have had. I reflect on what I might have done better. No longer scary, but a refuge from the hustle and bustle of daytime life. Like our church, a refuge to stop, look inward, and let our spirits glow. So come, let us shine in the dark and worship together. Story first. Chalice. Will Connie Vaught please come forward to light the chalice? As Connie lights our chalice at First Universalist, and you light a chalice in your own homes, will you join me in saying our chalice words in unison? May we be a people of welcome, to grow in heart and mind and spirit, and may we reach out to serve our community.
Our first story today is actually written by a psychologist who specializes in working with children who are afraid of the dark. Hello Dark, written by Y. Mei Wong, illustrated by Tamara Kampu. Hello, Dark? People tell me you can't hear me, but I know you do. You creep in when the sun goes down. You keep me wide awake and worrying, what will you do once I'm asleep? I hear the creaks you make around the house. I hear the gusts of wind you blow against the windows. With your shadows, you hide everything around me. It makes me feel helpless and alone. I'm tired of being afraid of you. Tonight, can we talk? Are you always so scary? You do some good things too. You shield the sun's bright light so the world can sleep. Owls and foxes feel safe playing in your shadows. The starry sky and moon shine brightly thanks to you. I guess you're not so bad after all. Maybe you don't want to be scary. Maybe you're just lonely. Hello, Dark. Let's be friends. We can talk about happy things together. We can play imaginary games when nobody's watching. We can count sheep. We can practice breathing. We can even listen to music until we fall asleep. Tomorrow, if you meet me at my nightlight, I'm sure we can be friends. Good night, dark, my friend.
Will you please rise and bow to your spirit for the affirmation of faith and singing of the doxology? Love is the doctrine of this church.
The quest for truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge in freedom, to serve humanity in fellowship, to the end that all souls shall grow into harmony with the source and meaning of life. Thus do we covenant with each other and with all. From all that dwell below the skies, let songs of hope and faith arise. Let peace, goodwill on earth be sung. Through every land, by every tongue.
Our offering this morning goes to support the good works of this church. Just yesterday, people from our congregation organized a party with food and refreshments for our neighbors over at the park, just on the other side of Martin Luther King Square. A chance for folks to gather, to have some food, and to also celebrate the holiday season with gift wrapping. This kind of generosity is made possible by your gifts to First Universalist. The more generous you are with us, the more generous we can be in our community. To give, please scan the QR code on the back of the order of service, and offering baskets will come around as well. For folks online, please click the link in the chat. Your generosity matters to this community. Thank you.
Our second story today is God's Holy Darkness by Sheree Green and Becca Selnick, illustrated by Nikki Fasson, adapted and shared by me. I wanted you to know ahead of time that the Holy Dark in this book focuses on the theistic viewpoint of the Hebrew and Christian scriptures and quotes them throughout the text. And I want you to notice that God and Spirit in this book is portrayed by a black woman with hair in locks. And all of the authors and illustrators are women or women of color. Darkness and blackness and night are too often compared to lightness and whiteness and day and found deficient. But let us name the beauty and goodness and holiness of dark and blackness and night. God uses darkness and blackness and night to show love for the world. Creation began in the dark. In the beginning, darkness covered the face of the deep, from Genesis 1, verse 1 through 2. God poured out love and brought all things into being. Creation is God's work done in holy darkness. When Abraham began to doubt God's promises, the Lord took him on a walk and pointed to the night sky. Look towards the heaven and count the stars. If you are able to count them, so shall your descendants be. From Genesis 15:5. Later, Jacob wrestles all night long with God and was forever changed. The beginning of the many nations and peoples of the Lord is the work of God's beautiful darkness. At midnight, the Lord passed over Egypt and set the people free. Samuel heard a small voice calling to him in the dark, and he became a mighty prophet. When the temple was complete, Solomon said, "The Lord has said he would do well. He would dwell in thick darkness." From 1 Kings 8:12. The Spirit of God dwells in the holy darkness, where we are invited to be held in God's love. Angels appeared to the shepherds in the dark and told them of a baby in a manger. The disciples gathered with Jesus for the Holy Supper as the day turned to night. When Jesus died on the cross, the day went black from noon to 3. It's all right. When Jesus died on the cross, the day went black from noon to 3. Creation began in holy darkness, and a new way of living and believing began in the darkness of the sky that day. Salvation, belonging, God's love for all creation was affirmed, and it was the work of God's beautiful, good, and holy darkness. Rich black soil brings forth abundant life. Unless a grain of wheat falls into the earth and dies, it remains just a single grain. But if it dies, it bears much fruit. From John 12:24. The deep dark of the ocean holds more life than has ever been discovered. We are reminded of the size of God's creation through the boundless, beautiful black of outer space. From the beginning of creation to the stars and the night sky, we are shown God's love. In houses of worship with dark spaces for wonder, we are held in God's love. In the dark soil, in the deep sea, we are reminded of God's love. In the promise of peace made to the shepherds at night, to the promises Jesus made with love and wisdom, these are the beautiful works of God's holy darkness.
We will now have a moment to get to chant together again. Hymn number 1069, also again found in your teal hymnal if you'd like. Ancient Mother. Let's do this one 3 times through. Is that good? All right. Ancient Mother, I hear you calling. Ancient Mother, I hear your song. Ancient Mother, I feel your laughter. Ancient Mother, I taste your tears. Ancient Mother, I hear you calling. Ancient Mother, I hear your song. Ancient Mother, I feel your laughter. Ancient Mother, I taste your tears. Ancient Mother, I hear you calling. Ancient Mother, I hear your song. Ancient Mother, I feel your laughter. Ancient Mother, I taste your tears. As we join one another in sharing in our laughter, in sharing in our tears, let us enter into this reverent time to share the joys and the sorrows of our gathered community. If you would like to, wherever you are, in this sanctuary, online joining us from your living room, please place a hand over your heart to be able to listen from this heart-centered place. And as Kitty places stones into a bowl, I will read aloud the joys and the sorrows of our gathered community. All online are invited to share your joys and your sorrows in the chat, and I will read them aloud. This morning, we share a joy from Donna Anderson. That Saturday afternoon, Theo Munson and I attended the children's Christmas party at Park Square. She enjoyed talking to the kids and hearing their oohs and ahs when some of the kids opened their gifts there. It was karma that we provided food trays of cheese, fruit, cookies, and cupcakes for the party. We went to say hi, neighbor, and invite them to our church. So glad we went. A joy this morning also from Grant Fish that in 4 days, the nights are getting shorter. Perhaps a joy many of us share. Oh, we share a sorrow this morning. We are holding many sorrows today. So I'll just invite you to prepare your hearts. A sorrow this morning from Nancy Gady and Carl Abbott, who learned of the death of their niece's husband last night. Please keep her family in your thoughts, and please keep Nancy and Carl in your thoughts. We share a sorrow today from Connie Volk that Harriet Sutherland, a faithful member of our church before she moved to Ithaca, is now in the Friendly Home on East Avenue suffering from some dementia. She is now totally deaf, so if you'd like to visit, please bring a notepad or an iBook in order to communicate with her during your visit. We were also informed to let the staff know so they can let you in. Her husband, Dick, says she would love visits from her old First Universalist friends. We share a sorrow this morning from Beth Ayers. David and I are brokenhearted over the sudden loss of our beloved Halfinger horse, Molly. We had her for almost 10 years. She was beautiful, affectionate, and funny. Her partner, Jed, was so distraught that we brought home a new friend for him named Dolly. As we move forward with our grieving, we will begin to love her too. Beth, holding you in our hearts, both you and David. Such a tender loss. We share a sorrow this morning from Barbara Brody, the people in the Middle East who are suffering. We share a concern from Paula Marchese for her cousin David, who underwent quintuple bypass surgery this past weekend in Rochester General, We hold a sorrow from Joe and Jean Ott. Joe's Uncle Lou passed away peacefully in his sleep yesterday. A memorial service will likely be in the next week. And we also continue to hold the Brayman family, Glenda and Howie Brayman, as they prepare their hearts for a memorial service for their son, Terry Brayman, which will be here on Friday at 11. We will drop one final stone into the bowl to represent all of the joys and the sorrows left unspoken in the silent sanctuaries of our hearts. May all be held in the heart of love. Dear ones, I'll ask you to get comfortable in your seats, to take your hands off the keyboard or just gently nestle your hands in your lap. Take a deep breath, roll your shoulders down. Allow the thoughts of your mind to sift down and settle. And if it is comfortable to you, to close your eyes or soften your gaze. As we join in a moment of shared meditation together. Holy dark, blessed space, sacred silence, absence of light, color of morning, darkness of the season, sacred, blessed, black. Hold our hearts in your fertile and creative dream space. Allow us to rest, release, heal, grieve, relax. Give us a moment to reflect on where we are in our lives. Dark of winter, Bring us deep into the earth, held in the cocoon of soil like roots, resting, freezing, resting with the growing things. Help us to connect to our bodies, to remember that we too are made of star stuff. Star stuff held against the blue to blackness of the night sky. May we be grateful for this season, for all that the dark brings to our lives, for the invitation to rest, for the fertile space of creation, for the moments of reflection, for the reminder that we are each holy, each held in the embrace of the dark. May we find the strength of heart and spirit to allow our beings to sync up with the season and the world around us, to enter into the holy dark. Amen. Blessed be, may it be so. Let us join in some moments of shared silence together, embracing what the dark has to bring to us today. Our hymn of contemplation this morning is There is a Love. Lyrics by Reverend Dr. Rebecca Parker, arranged by Elizabeth Norton. Let us join in singing. I love considering that when we are in the dark, we are resting in love. Some of you may know that I traveled last week to Kansas City. Kansas City is home, if you didn't know, to the Nelson Atkins Museum. Has anyone ever been? Ooh, what a delight. Let me paint you a picture. The Nelson Atkins Museum is a large art museum with an expansive standing collection and free admission. Right? 3 floors, all different kinds of art, a lot of classic art, but they're also bringing in a good bit of modern and contemporary art. One of the crowning jewels of their museum is in the Asian art collection on the top floor. In the back, after you walk through all of these beautiful ceramic statues and different vases, you can walk ahead and there's a wide entrance to a dark room. At the front of the room sits a statue of Kuan Yin, a Buddhist bodhisattva of compassion and mercy. Held in the darkness, one can slip in the entrance and go to the left or to the right, where you would find benches back against the wall, black, subtle. The room is quiet. The only lighting is focused on the statue of this bodhisattva, a statue which is this representation believed to bring connection to the spirit of this semi-deity, as well as a beautiful relief behind it. Kuan Yin is sat back in a resting pose on a rock representing the ocean surrounding the island they are believed to come from. Their eyes are kind, their face in a subtle upturned smile. I traveled there last weekend and entered this room. Held in the darkness, I sat there for a time and just allowed the compassion of this statue, of this representation of a bodhisattva to hold me for a while in the dark. People came in and out. 2 women who also sat in the back and remained quiet. One started a timer for meditation. Another pair of women speaking Spanish sat on the bare floor with crossed legs right at Kuan Yin's feet. They crossed their foreheads and their shoulders and uttered prayers, reaching out to touch their feet, a form of religious or spiritual devotion that gave me a little heart stop about touching a statue in a museum, but yet recognizing it for what it is, devotion. All of this made possible by the anonymity of the dark, the invitation from the dark. In this space, our hearts and our spirits could focus, free from distraction, held by the compassionate glance of this beautiful statue. One could just be there, free from all the lights and the stimulation that museums provide. Be free from all the lights and the stimulation that this season provides. All held in this space of reflection and contemplation by the darkness. And this bodhisattva, an embodiment of compassion here on earth. Darkness has a reflective quality to it, an invitation to release the distractions from the light, a way of revealing what we could not see or experience before. I think of the many African Maroons in these so-called United States who sought the dark, hidden nature of caves, to escape enslavement and to claim the freedom that was their birthright. I think of the prophet Elijah, who had to retreat to a cave to hear his God, to receive guidance, and to be protected from the storms that came and went. I think of the ways darkness allows us to hear ourselves, to get in touch with ourselves whenever we engage in practices of meditation or prayer with eyes closed. Darkness is a space for holy encounters, sacred space, if you will. And the beauty and richness that darkness brings to our lives is worth celebrating. I wonder where darkness has called to you lately, where you have found yourself sitting in the dark, listening or reflecting. If I wander along the street where I live at night, so many open windows reveal people sitting in the dark in front of their television screens, one lamp on, reading a book, with phones or iPads. And perhaps there is some comfort and reflection there. Perhaps an escape, likely a bit of both. I imagine all of us find rest in the dark, a way to slip into our dreaming or just allow our bodies to be still. I wonder where you have found yourself, sitting in the darkness. And I wonder whose feet you have been sitting at, or perhaps where you have found your heart and your mind, what the darkness has allowed you to focus on. What has the darkness brought into sharp awareness for you? Where has it allowed you to reflect? The winter solstice is often a celebration of the light's return. And I think we can hold that here. And as we seek to honor the interdependence of our natural world, we must acknowledge that the idea of light's triumph over darkness is not exactly a theology we can hold as Unitarian Universalists. There would be no light without the dark. We must have both. There would be no beauty and brilliance of the stars, as Kitty pointed out this morning, without the dark sky that surrounds them. There would be no sunrise without the onset of evening and the darkness to come. This season has certainly been one where we have been invited to be with darkness, to face it, and to hopefully interrogate why we think we must always defeat the darkness, why we think the darkness is the enemy, making us feel sleepy or putting our rhythms off. The darkness is inviting us into reflection, stillness, rest. This world has always held a balance of light and dark, different in some places, but always present throughout a day, a month, a season, a year. And we are here in this darkest time of the year together. I want to acknowledge that I know that for many of us, the dark and the gray brings a seasonal low, a depression even. While I was in Kansas City, I felt like I needed to soak up all of the sun because I thought I might not see it again until May. Lo and behold, climate change had another thing in store for us, and it's been sunny these last few days. Here we are. But please do not hear a dismissal of the realities that for so many of us, the darkness does bring a low, a lull, a depression. Please know that you are not alone here in these experiences. And I do wonder where we can seek out darkness when it is available to us, when we can celebrate the gifts, where we are meant to be in the midst of the absence of light for reflection, nourishment, focus, fulfillment. The darkness of the womb is where we all began, every single one of us. The darkness of the earth cradles each plant's beginning, making our lives possible with the food grown and the air we breathe and the beauty our eyes get to enjoy. Let us find some small and simple ways to celebrate the dark. Let our stories and our songs today hold us in the dark. And as the balance between light and dark shifts on this winter solstice, may we hear the call of the dark, and may we answer its invitation by leaning in, held in the holy dark. Amen. Blessed be, and may it be so. As we seek to embrace the sweetness of the dark together, we will sing our final hymn, hymn number 1055, How Sweet the Darkness. I'll invite you to rise in body or in spirit. This is one that we don't often sing, so will you play it once through for us, Brock? All right. The lyrics will be in your teal hymnal and on the screen. Please remain standing as we extinguish our chalice flame, a weekly celebration of the dark, it turns out, and read aloud our words printed in our order of service and on the screen together. We extinguish this flame, but we keep its light in our hearts with its message of love and justice, taking it outside these walls to the world we live in until we are together again. Dear ones, as we close our time, we will say thanks to our different four directions. So if you'll join me in facing them again, let us face to the north. Spirit of the North, we offer gratitude for your gifts, for the ways you remind us of our bodies, of the earth, of what is real and material in this world. Thank you. Go in peace. Let us face to the east. Spirit of the east, spirit of air, we take a deep breath in and out. We thank you for the gifts of keeping our minds sharp, our awareness here, our focus ready. Thank you for these gifts. Thank you, and go in peace, Spirit of the East. We face the south. Spirit of fire, thank you for the passions you ignite in us. We carry forward your flame in our hearts, in our guts, in our spirits. As we go forth from this ritual, Spirit of the South, Spirit of fire, thank you. Go in peace. And we turn again to the West. Spirit of water, we thank you for your gifts of heart space, for the time we have had together to connect our hearts, to grieve, to mourn, to laugh, to share in the joys and the vital pieces of life and living. We thank you. Go in peace. Dear ones, I'll invite you to just take a moment to place a hand over your heart and to look around at those here with you, here in this space. For folks online, we'll invite you to turn on your cameras so we may see you as well and connect with you. Dear ones, in this season, may we find the space to celebrate the dark. May we know its holiness. And may we find the face of compassion both within us and there in the darkness. May you know that you are loved. And may you go and be that love to whomever you meet. Amen. Blessed.
Amen.
And may it be so. Please be seated. As we prepare our hearts for our prelude, we will listen to Brock and Ryan play, and then we will join again in singing our winter solstice chant. And from our seats, let us join in singing our winter solstice chant before we head into coffee hour.